This is a follow-up to a video we recently did about Elon Musk and the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. Musk is attempting to buy and bribe his way to victory in that election, and he recently lied his ass off during a Fox News interview to try to justify what he's doing. But after he posted a potentially incriminating message on Twitter, he is now being sued by the Attorney General of Wisconsin for his conduct, and we have to unpack all of this. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. Yeah, Elon Musk screwed up a lot, potentially, and there's a decent chance here that he will finally be held accountable by somebody for his blatant and potentially criminal corruption. Okay, but before we get into that, I want to play this clip from Elon Musk's recent Fox News interview when Bret Baier asked him about his involvement in the Supreme Court race. I want you to hear what Elon Musk said because he's lying. He's full of shit.
You're still involved in politics. You were big in the election, obviously in Pennsylvania. Now, I guess you're in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. Why plug in?
Well, the Democrats are trying to redraw the districts in Wisconsin. And we're trying to stop the Democrats from gerrymandering Wisconsin to remove 2 House seats. That's what this whole Supreme Court justice case is about. So I really want to emphasize people out there, if you're in Wisconsin, go out and vote. You can do early voting for the Supreme Court. If you have friends and family in Wisconsin, please urge them to vote for Brad Schimmel. If we don't, we could lose control of the House, and all of the government reforms could be shut down.
So the problem is he used the word gerrymander, and Elon Musk is really stupid or he's really dishonest or perhaps both, because the fact of the matter is it was Republicans who gerrymandered the hell out of Wisconsin about 10 years ago. Actually, it may have been 15 years ago. So let's be very clear about this. Wisconsin is one of 7 battleground states. I live in a battleground state, North Carolina. Wisconsin is even more purple than North Carolina. It is truly a 50-50 state. It went for President Obama, then it went for Trump, then it went for Biden, then it went for Trump again. They have 2 senators. One is a Republican, one is a Democrat. That's very, very rare. That's how split this state is. You have Tammy Baldwin, Democrat, Ron Johnson, a Wisconsin Republican. However, because of the gerrymandering that was done on former Republican Governor Scott Walker's watch, the gerrymander for Wisconsin is staggering. So they have 8 congressional seats. 6 of them are Republican. Only 2 are Democrat. It's not 50-50, even though the state is 50-50 in terms of turnout, in terms of voter registration. It is a split seat. It has gone down. Again, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican senator, Democrat senator. It is as 50-50 as a state can possibly be. But what did Republicans do once they happened to get a trifecta back in about 2010? They gerrymandered the hell out of Wisconsin to try to institutionalize, to entrench their advantage rather than compete on an even terrain. There have been elections in Wisconsin where more votes have been cast for Democrats, but because of the gerrymandering in effect, Republicans maintained a damn near supermajority control over the state legislature. Republicans and Republicans alone have gerrymandered the state. I'll also point out that when the Supreme Court in Wisconsin flipped in 2023, when liberal Justice Janet Protasewicz won the election in a landslide, the gerrymandered internal maps for Wisconsin were challenged, and they were overturned. They were overruled, and it gave Democrats and Republicans, because Republicans still controlled the legislature, an opportunity to redraw the maps. They just couldn't be as gerrymandered as they were. Those maps were put into effect. The Democratic governor Evers signed them into law. But there was still, even then, a slight Republican advantage. Slight, okay? So even then, with the maps that the Democratic governor, the new maps that he signed into law for the state's internal composition, for its internal legislature, Republicans still have a majority. It's just the Democrats are now competitive. It is now possible in a 50-50 state for Democrats to win the majority, which is how it should be in a 50-50 state. Both parties should have a reasonable chance of taking the majority. So during the most recent election, Democrats flipped 14 legislative seats, affirming the GOP gerrymander is dead. The Democratic gains in a strong Republican year set up a chance for them to win majorities in 2026. Republicans will maintain majorities in both the Assembly and the Senate, though at much slimmer margins than during the most recent legislative session. The math sets up a chance, not a guarantee, for the Democrats to retake at least one chamber in 2026. So to be clear, Democrats have not gerrymandered these maps. There's no sign that they will attempt to gerrymander these maps. The only people who have done gerrymandering in Wisconsin are the Republicans. So when Musk tells you, oh, Democrats are trying to gerrymander, number one, even if we were, turnabout's fair play, you all gerrymandered the hell out of Wisconsin. We actually have the right to do it too, but we don't exercise that right. We just want a fair chance. You don't even want us to have a shot in hell. So again, I'm sorry, I had to correct the record on this. But now let's get to Elon Musk's personal trouble, okay? So again, this is a follow-up to a video we recently did. So Musk made a potentially incriminating post on Truth Social, on Twitter. He says, on Sunday night, I will give a talk in Wisconsin. Entrance is limited to those who have voted in the Supreme Court election. I will also personally hand over 2 checks for $1 million and an appreciation for you taking the time to vote. Okay? This plainly violated election law, state election law at the very least in Wisconsin. So he deleted it. He scrambled. Oh shit. Okay, fine. Then he posted a new version. He's like, on Sunday night, I'll give a talk in Wisconsin. Then he lied. He's like, well, to clarify a previous post, entrance is limited to those who have signed the petition in opposition to activist judges. I'll also hand over checks for $1 million to 2 people to be spokesmen for the petition. So when I said, you can only enter if you vote, what I really meant was sign a petition. He didn't get confused. He just lied. He attempted to bribe people to vote. And then once he was told, oh my God, you probably violated state election law, then he deleted the post and said, oh, I'm issuing a clarification. Bullshit. Liar. But in response, Attorney General Josh Kaul of Wisconsin issued this statement. The Wisconsin Department of Justice is committed to ensuring elections in Wisconsin are safe, secure, free, and fair. We are aware of the offer recently posted by Elon Musk to award $1 million to 2 people at an event in Wisconsin this weekend. Based on our understanding of applicable Wisconsin law, we intend to take legal action today to seek a court order to stop this from happening, which is good. And we actually have an update on this. Wisconsin Attorney General sues Elon Musk to block $1 million payment offers. Wisconsin's Attorney General asked a court on Friday to block billionaire Elon Musk from handing out $1 million checks to voters this weekend, just 2 days before the state's hotly contested Supreme Court race was to be decided. Attorney General Josh Kaul filed the lawsuit in Dane County Circuit Court to stop Musk from making the payments, which he said would make Sunday in Wisconsin. Musk initially said on a post on his social media platform X that he planned to personally hand over $2 million to a pair of voters who already cast their ballots in the race. Musk later posted a clarification saying the money will go to people who will be spokesmen for an online petition against activist judges. After first saying the event would only be open to people who had voted in the Supreme Court race, he said attendance would be limited to those who signed the petition. So it goes on like this, again, basically recounting what we just described. So this is the situation. The Attorney General has already asked a court to intercede. Now, of course, the bigger question is Musk skirting election law? So Wisconsin state law expressly prohibits anything of value in exchange for voting, drawing a slew of complaints, including from Wisconsin's Democratic Attorney General, who sued Friday afternoon to block Musk from handing out the checks. Andrew Romeo, a spokesperson for Musk's Political Action Committee, declined to comment on what prompted the change. The initial post, then it being deleted, then the quote-unquote clarification. Musk's initial post drew a flurry of accusations just days before Tuesday's election, which will determine the ideological makeup of the highest court in the perennial presidential battleground. Attorney General Josh Kaul on Friday asked the circuit court to issue an emergency injunction to stop Musk from making the payments, calling them a, quote, blatant attempt to violate Wisconsin's anti-bribery statute. So, this is where we are. Elon Musk is being sued for potentially violating Wisconsin election law. And I think this is good. I think it's good that we're not just urging him to stop, that Democrats, attorneys general are not just asking him, they're taking action to take bold, decisive action to stop Musk's corruption from having an outside impact on the election. Now, as I've said in previous videos about this as well, because I've covered this election, this is a big one. Okay, again, Wisconsin's a battleground state, which has flip-flopped back and forth presidentially ever since President Obama. Okay, they are split right down the middle, ideologically speaking. There's a damn good chance that Brad Schimmel, the MAGA-aligned candidate, will win this election. And I do think that that would be devastating, not just for voting rights and reproductive rights, and of course giving carte blanche to the Republican majority in the legislature to try to, recreate their gerrymandered maps. But also remember this, in 2020, Donald Trump attempted to overturn President Biden's victory, and he was the sitting president at the time. And one of his challenges went through Wisconsin. He attempted to get Wisconsin, which flipped to Biden, to overturn, to throw out ballots in order to flip the result back to Trump. And at the time, there was a conservative majority on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And the only reason that Trump's attempt was not successful is because of one conservative defection to the liberals, preventing Donald Trump from unilaterally overturning the results of a free and fair election. If Brad Schimmel is on the court in 2028, when perhaps a Democrat might win that election, I have no reason to believe that he won't align himself with Trump in any challenge to overturn that result, because they're ideologically aligned. It is incredibly dangerous, not just bad for Wisconsin and Wisconsinites. It will have national implications, again, not just because of the election law, but because of the maps, which could determine congressional turnout. Elon Musk is like, well, Republicans might lose 2 seats. That might be a problem if we were in Mississippi or Alabama, where there is an objectively legitimate conservative advantage. That's fair. In a deep red state, Republicans should be more represented. But Wisconsin's not a deep red state. It is a purple state. And all the data show it is a 50-50 state, which means intuitively, unless you have extraordinary evidence to the contrary, the congressional makeup, the congressional delegation should probably also be 50-50, unless you have a damn good logical reason as to why that wouldn't be the case. Like Democrats just don't turn up to vote, which is not true. What Elon Musk is doing is lying. He wants you to believe that actually the current composition, which heavily favors the Republicans, that's a legitimate victory. And what Democrats are trying to do is gerrymander their way out of it. It's just not true. So if you're an eligible voter in Wisconsin, I would encourage you, if you haven't yet, to vote. And I would also encourage you to vote for Judge Susan Crawford and keep Donald Trump and Elon Musk's MAGA lackey, Brad Schimmel, off the state's highest court. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.